Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about a CRM. So with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people that we have on here today, who here knows what a CRM is? Okay. Who of you have a CRM? Who of you actually use your CRM? Yeah. Greg, come on. This is a family-friendly show. Okay, so it's good to get that indication. So I thought I'd do a training today on a CRM, mostly because I was working with Tara recently, and literally Tara was like leaving leads on the table. She was getting so many great inquiries, and if it was just left to her brain to remember when and where and how, with her busy business and her brain, the likelihood of her being able to actually respect those leads and follow up on those leads and convert them into paying customers would be near impossible. So we're going to talk about why CRM is important to manage your leads and your customers in your small business. So firstly, did you know that 22% of salespeople don't even know what a CRM is? I mean, that to me is just mind-blowing. 22%, you know, that's like almost a quarter. And a CRM software can improve sales by up to 39%. So I think as business owners, it is important that we know the role that it fits within here. And if we have a sales process in our business, that we understand a CRM needs to be in there. But I am going to show you some good ways today. So I'm going to share with you the whys, the whats, the hows. A CRM will actually help your business and make you more sales. But the most important thing to remember is that it's about creating solid relationships with your prospects and clients. And for example, when Andrew earlier was talking about how he was having these conversations with people and qualifying whether or not they were in fact the right people, where do you record that? Like somewhere that needs to be recorded, especially if you're speaking to multiple people all the time. I went to a conference, 4-day conference over there. I had 9 leads. And if I'd come back from the conference and I hadn't recorded those leads and I don't follow up on them, I'm going to lose them. And that's the role that the CRM plays. It also does play an important role when it comes to your customer and client retention too. So I will go into that too. So in order to build a stable and successful business, you have to hone these relationships, nurture them, and treat them with respect. And the more that you get and the busier we get, the more important the CRM actually becomes. So this is where a CRM can actually help you. So firstly, a CRM is a customer relationship management system, software, or tool. Okay, so it stands for customer relationship management. And we all know like that should be like number one, right? Really important thing. So it helps business owners optimize their daily schedules and prioritize important tasks like following up on leads and onboarding new clients. And in fact, CRM will inevitably allow your business to spend more time with customers and prospects so that you can handle those leads, close more deals, and develop a real strong customer base. So 92% of businesses said that CRM is a crucial tool which has helped them to achieve revenue goals. So 92%. And I would presume that that 92% all actually have a CRM and are using it if they were to say that it is a crucial tool for getting revenue results. So did you know that a properly implemented CRM can yield a 45% return on investment per dollar invested? So if a CRM costs you this amount of money, and I'm talking about a paid CRM because I am going to show you both models. I'm going to show you a non-conventional CRM method, and I'm going to show you a conventional CRM method as well, the one that I use. So not that you should be using my one, because you know that what's right for me may not be right for you. So instead of looking for new cold clients, everyone's always looking for new cold clients on social media. And when you go to networking events, it's always the new one, the new conversation, the new person, the new whatever. It's about using the CRM rather to respect those leads and actually follow up and nurture those leads. So new statistics, and this was actually confirmed at the conference I was at as well, that it now takes 11 touch points before you are even considered. So if you meet someone, have a conversation with them, it's going to take 10 more occasions before they even consider using you, okay? Which is really mind-blowing. Okay, the process is becoming longer. Impulse buying is down. I cannot say this enough. So it is imperative that you use my favorite F words, and that is follow up and follow through with your leads. Respect them. And that includes re-engaging and upselling to current clients by using the CRM strategically. Now, again, anything that you use in your business, you've got to know how to use, and you've got to use it strategically. If you're just winging it without a strategy, it's not going to work. And I am going to show you some examples today. And obviously, when we work in our one-on-ones together, we go over that strategy as well on how you can use it for your business. So why should a small business use a CRM? Well, a CRM collects all the information coming in from multiple channels. So it will collect the information and data and contact info from websites, from people who book your webinars, from those who book a call, from those who fill out a contact us form, for those who download an opt-in, for those who private message you through social media, those who email you, those who call you, those who attend your events, and even any bots or live chat bots that you may have as well. So this allows the business to learn more about their audience and then create strategies to look after those relationships. Okay, so you know I'm a big fan about having multiple lead generation funnels within your business, and I'll always help you to have multiple so that if one drives up, you can always tap into another. But where are we recording all that data and information? Okay, and how are we going to look after those relationships and actually convert them into paying customers, especially if it's now an 11-step process to do that, to get a yes. So this helps also retain your customers. So again, it's not just for new leads. It's also about looking after your current clients and nurturing your prospects and tracking those leads, which is obviously going to drive more sales growth. So the types of CRMs that you get basically can be divided up into 5 different types. And this I got from the Software Hut online. So number 1, it is operational, meaning that you can manage your business better based on the data collected. So for example, if someone is inquiring through the website and we've set up behaviors, conditions, and rules to tag them and to add them to lists, then we can, from an operations perspective, we can look at how are we going to market to them, how are we going to sell to them, how are we going to service them, how are we going to follow up on them. So from an operations perspective. Number 2 is from an analytical perspective, meaning that we're getting insights about our customers. And we're getting insights into the way that they interact with us. And then we can look at the potential possibilities that we can have from that. So it helps companies make better use of the information that they gather about customer. It also looks at customer preferences, the most used channels, the points of contact that they have, their interests, and more. It gives us a better understanding of that sales funnel and if it's actually working, okay? Because you can have a sales funnel, but if someone's not opening email number 3, we want to know, we want to go into the CRM and look at that and go, well, why is someone not opening email number 3? We need to change the subject line, or we need to change the timing. We need to look at why. We need to look at where those conversions are happening. So that's the analytical side. So number 3 is collaborative. And this is particularly good for the B2B space. So for example, when we're interacting with vendors, distributors, and your other referral partners, and we're doing collaborations, perhaps we want to share data and be able to collect that data and nurture and monitor those relationships as well. And obviously with Tara, that's what we did, because it's a B2B. And it's a longer lead time with B2B. The funnel is different. The interactions are different. So that would be the collaborative CRM space as opposed to B2C. Number 4 is campaign management. And this is perhaps, one of the most important ones and the easiest ones for all of us to use. And it's basically, how can we run sales and marketing campaigns based on the information that we get? So if our goal is specifically, to build our email listing to get contacts in, we want to be able to plan, manage, and analyze better campaigns and email marketing campaigns. So if we know that if we send out a blog, we get a lot of open rates, we get a lot of clicks, then we can start to look at campaign management and go, well, how are we going to run those email marketing campaigns more effectively to get more of those opens and more on those conversions? And then number 5 is strategic. strategically. And at the end of the day, it's about putting the customers first. So whatever information and data they're putting in, we'll be able to market strategically to those people based on the data they've given us and the insights that we're able to come up with based on the interactions. And I will give you some examples on that as well. So how do you use your CRM in your small business? Well, once you've worked out your customer journey and you've mapped all the touch points that your customer needs, we then have to look at what we're going to do with that information, or how we're going to track data, or what is the most important data that we need to track. Okay, so I have an example for you. And for those of you who've got CRMs, I want this to be a little bit fun. And there's no wrong answers. We're all here learning, and perhaps you can come up with something I haven't thought of. But I'm going to give you an example of a customer journey, and then I'd love you to give me suggestions on each of the numbers. So suggest in number 1 that the way that you'd use a CRM would be 2. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the chat box, and I'll also read it out for you. But it's an example about Mary who wants to buy this expensive dog. Let's just go in here and put that in the chat box for you. Okay, so if you have a look in the chat box over there, okay, and I put it in numbers, so therefore you can talk to me about what you would do with your CRM based on this example. So number 1, Mary private messages on social media to have a chat, okay, because you sell dogs. You send her a booking link, or you offer her a day and time to have that conversation about buying this dog. Number 3, in your chat, she mentioned she wants to buy a dog, but it must be a small dog that doesn't lose hair, and her budget is $5,000. Okay, so she wants to spend a lot on a dog. Number 4, you say to her, you'll get back to her with potential options and a price over the next week. Number 5, next week, you email her the price and options and offer another call to have a chat. Number 6, in the chat, she decides to wait for 3 months. Okay, maybe she's moving home, or moving home, or she wants to get the house ready, or for whatever reason, she says, let's wait 3 months. And number 7, you say you'll stay in contact with her over the next 3 months. Okay, now imagine if you were to have 10, 20, 30 of these happening every day, month, or year. How would you remember who wants what dog at what price and when you must get back to them? Okay, so I thought this example would show you how important the CRM is. Now, does anyone looking at that, if you've got any CRM experience, and have a crack if you want, just one of those numbers, talk to me about how you would use a CRM in one of those numbers. Okay, and if you don't have one, that's fine. I've actually got some potential issues, some potential examples as well. So unmute, say your name, and then mention the number that you'd like to have a crack at with the CRM. Anyone want to have a crack?
I'll have a go.
Andrew, awesome.
Yeah, because my focus is always on asking lots of questions and really digging deep down before I started anything. Number 5 stands out as, a high priority item there. I'd want that chat really, really quickly. I would keep it perhaps away from the dog issue and really just get to know them better, what their lifestyle is, whether they're working, how many hours they're working, whether they want the dog just for home companionship, whether it's to, for running, or whether there's children involved. So that would go right to the top of my priority list to get that call. And probably the most important feature of the CRM would be the next follow-up time. If I haven't heard back from them within a day, or set a 24-hour or 48-hour reminder just to touch base, but it would not be heavy sell. It would really be about, let's start that conversation.
Excellent. So basically, there's 2 things that you mentioned there, and that is note keeping. So taking notes of that conversation and what were the important criteria of that particular client. And the second part that was in there was on setting a task, which you can do in a CRM, setting a task to follow up on that hot lead. Okay, so those are the 2 things that, based on what Andrew said, would happen. It's for note keeping and tasks. Does anyone else have any other ideas on what a CRM could help with? Go, Alison.
Number 7,
Yep.
contact her in 3 months' time. So
Yep.
you'd be wanting a reminder or something to contact her.
In 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that one step further. I would want to nurture her over that 3 months so she doesn't go and buy a dog from somewhere else, because we're talking about a $5,000 dog here. So in order to keep that client, we'd want to nurture her, stay in touch with her, check in on her, see how she's going. So by all means, yes, set that task to do that, but we would also want to send some emails just to check in on her as well. So again, going back and looking at that customer map and going, how many touch points would she need in order to keep us forefront of mind as the buyer? Last one. Does anyone else want to have a go? Tara, we'll do two. We'll do Tara and Greg. Go, Tara.
The other thought I had was, if it wasn't situational like her moving house, in that 3-month period, if the options had broadened, like you as a business owner now have another option to offer her, more dogs become available. She's in the CRM, you've got notes there to say, she wasn't pleased with the options on hand, but if you're still nurturing, you can then offer her, as soon as something else becomes available, a suitable sale.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, because based on this, based on the notes, based on your situation in the notes there, you could also just say, these are the dogs that we've got upcoming. Like it might be month 2, she might actually be ready now in month 2, and the absolute perfect dog for her might come up in month 2. Okay, and that CRM we would use for that, so we don't lose the sale. Greg?
Just taking Andrew's point also, back for number 3, rather than you putting an email together and everything like that, that could be automated, and a questionnaire could potentially go out to the customer with all of those questions about kids, etc. Not just lose hair and be small, but there's 1,000 other questions that could be asked. And a survey questionnaire that the customer then fills out and returns to you. And even in the background, that could help channel her into, these are the 3 brands, or whatever you call dogs, breeds, that we would recommend, would certainly put the seller in an expert mind of the buyer to say, wow, I didn't even consider 10 of those questions, so I'm talking to the right people.
Excellent. Love that, Greg. And 100%. So a CRM, so if we look at the customer map and we've mapped that out, and if you're asking the same question again and again, what does that mean? You've got to create a system around it, right? So if every time someone inquires about a dog, you've got to ask them all these questions, all you've got to do is have it, you could have that all automated and say, download it from the website. All the data would actually automatically go into their contacts folder, into the CRM. And then based on that, you would be able to then better prescribe the dog to them. Okay. Often people don't know what they don't know. So you might even have a better solution for them. And yes, that can all be automated. Aslam.
Yeah. So just about that automation, I think what Andrew is talking about is that it can't always be automated, because he's talking about creating trust and building a relationship with customers, which is not even always asking 100% relevant questions. It's just creating that relationship so that they trust you, and so you can do business with them on a whole different level, so that you show them that you're pursuing what they want to do, not just trying to sell them something. You're working towards making them happy, which makes them trust in you, so that they want to work with you rather than someone else, even though the other ones might have an equally great product or an equally great dog.
And that's a great point, Ashley. You cannot, so some people over automate and over systemize, and they take people out of the process. And this is why that customer journey and customer mapping is so important, because there has to be that physical touch as well as some of the automation. So there's some stuff that you can automate and go, they'll be happy with that. But you can't, there's certain parts of it 100% that you need to be involved in. So just based on that, that was some of the examples that I have here. Number 1, you could record the lead. Okay. Now remember I said to you, I'm going to talk to you about some unconventional and conventional CRMs, okay? Some free CRMs and some paid CRMs, okay? So you could record that lead in something like Trello, an Excel spreadsheet, in a CRM, in a sales tracker template, like I've got a physical template I use as well, or even just on a whiteboard, okay? Depending on how old school you are, whatever system you've got. Number two, you could send that person the calendar invite. So that would either be through a booking calendar, which would be automated to your CRM, or alternatively, just in Google, send them the appointment settings so that they get a notification. Number three is when you're talking to that lead, writing out notes and giving it a potential. So when we talk about deals, we give it a value. So whenever I talk to a client, I give that client a value straight away after having that conversation. I go, after talking to this person, not based on the fact that I want money and I want the top dollar. It's based on the fact that this client's going to need this program or that program. And I put a figure in there. Okay. It's not set in stone, but I give it a value. So I add the notes and I write the deal. Then I put the tasks to follow up, right? So in a CRM, you can actually put a task or a reminder. So for example, like something like Active Campaign, you can set the task and it'll actually email you and say, phone Mary. Okay. And it'll actually have the link of Mary. So when I'm talking to Mary, I can click into Mary. I can straight away see the contact and all the notes are there, and I can add to the notes, of which are now recorded at a new date. So I don't forget, you know, what I'm talking to Mary about. Okay. You can also put in there as well, any of the emails and that you want to do. So emails, you can then email them as well. And if you're emailing through a CRM, you can actually see whether or not they opened that email. So the thing about automated emails is they end up in spam folders. Okay. All of you here have experienced that. And even though I said to everyone, please check your spam folder, people go, I haven't received your email. And then they go, yeah, I received your email. It's in my spam folder. But automated emails inevitably go to a spam folder. So it's important to add the person to your contact and to communicate that verbally to them as well. But the benefit of sending them an email through an automated platform is that if they don't open it up, I can also then send them a text to say, hey, you've got a very important email from me. Please check your spam folder. Okay. And that's what a CRM can also do. If you email them manually, obviously you can't do that. But then a follow-up call would also be great. So not taking you out of it. If you haven't heard back from them, either resend the email or just call them. Keep reflecting on your notes. So having a look in the CRM, recording those notes, and then of course, setting the task to email that person in 3 months. And obviously I would nurture them during that time as well. So some good suggestions there, guys. Well done. And just remembering that when you have a B2B and a B2C funnel, they are completely different. A B2C funnel and their touch points are actually longer. They have more than 11 touch points. And the person that you're dealing with is usually not the decision maker, and they have a decision-making process, meaning that it takes a long time to get them across the line. Which means you should have a CRM, because you're going to forget what you spoke to them about 3 or 4 months ago. All right, because they still go to a board meeting, which they only have once a month, to discuss the potential of you coming in and with your product or service. Okay, so it's a much longer game, but you can use a CRM, and of course you can map out that journey as well. All right, so what can you use? What CRM can you use in your business? So as I said, there's free and paid methods. So I'll show you here in Trello. So I use Trello as a project management system, and it's really, 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 really good. And I will show you mine as well for tracking your leads and inquiries. So I'm just going to put in the chat box here for you. Okay. So I would create a leads board in Trello. Now you can use Asana, Monday, Microsoft will have their own project management system, like whatever boards you've got. If you don't have a CRM, this is what you can use because it's free, right? So you can create a leads board. You can enter the name, the date, and product in the title. You can add the notes in the description, add the due dates to follow up on. You can even add team members if you wanted to share that information with someone. You can move it to the follow-up board with updated date in the title. You can then move it to won or move it to lost. So don't worry, people, you're all going, what? I'm actually going to show you my Trello board. That's not my Trello board. There we go. All right. So I've got the sales process board over here. And as I said, because I've been through 5 salespeople in the last year, I now have a sales board with all my training in here for all my training and all my products and everything inside here. So the next time I bring on a salesperson, I can literally just share this board with them and they can straight away tap into this. So as I said, leads would come in. You'd write the lead over here, what date it is, and you would write notes in it. So all the notes of when you spoke to that person. Over here, you can see this was Brendan who was doing our sales and he's no longer with me. He's written in here, left a message, we'll call back, second call, no answer. So I've actually got the dates of when all of that happened. Okay. He can also ask me questions. You can add attachments in here. You can set due dates, and you can even put a checklist in here and share this with particular members who are in charge of that. All right. Now, if it's a no, so say you followed up on someone and it's a no, thanks, don't want to work with you, we just move it to the lost board over here. They then would obviously just go to my prospects. They would just move to our prospects list in my email marketing. For those that are the one people would go in here. You can see Asley's in there. So all I did was I would have moved him from the leads list. You can move them to the wait time. So I will show you the wait time, and then eventually to the one board. And it's a really easy way to track it. I just want to show you over here what a wait time is. So for example, this particular lead over here made an inquiry. I did the mapping session where I mapped out the roadmap of how we could work together. I wrote all the notes over here. I put the value in as well of what I think. You can see the correspondence between all of us. But this particular client asked for a call back here in November. All right. So therefore, they will write, I write here in the top, wait until November. And you can, of course, set a due date as well. So if I set that due date till November, I will now get a call back in order to do that. So that is a manual free way that you can use something like Trello to monitor your leads. I would also put in there what channel they came from. So I would have in there what channel they came from, the value, the date that they inquired, and of course their notes are imperative, especially if you want to nurture and close that. So now if I take you to if I take you now to Active Campaign, I'll show you the difference. Where is it? Yeah. Come on. All right. So Inactive Campaign, this does it automatically, but it does it based on how you set it up. So the way that I've set this up is that it bases people on how they use. So if they open, if they're clicking on links, it will score them and then it'll put them into hot, warm, all, or follow up on. So I literally can go through and follow up on them. But I just want to show you, this is Rachel's over here. I'll just show you what a CRM has. So when you create this in Trello, it's important to have this kind of data in there as well. So you want their first name and second name because that's how they're added into your emails, as a first name and second name. You don't want name on its own. You always want first name and second name, two different fields. You want the email, and if you can get the mobile number, I highly recommend it. There's other things that you could do, like ask them when they're, what their physical address is, if it's important for you for that client. And you can see the last day that she engaged in any of my emails was the 29th of August. So it truly is a big stalking system. But what I want to show you over here is that the CRM then tags them based on what they do. So you can see here that she's previously applied for a grant with me. She's on the Business Owners Unite networking link. She is a client. She's downloaded my content calendar. She's booked an audit. She came to the Paint and Sip Christmas party. So tags, I describe tags as scars. Every time they do something inside your business, they get a scar and it's tagged. And you can make decisions based on what they've done with you, okay? Lists are where they are in different lists. So for me, the Chantal Girardi list is my prospect list. And Rachel's not a prospect because she is a client. So she's actively in my program. So she is on my client list. So when I send emails to clients, they get those emails. When I send emails to prospects, they get the marketing campaign emails. The clients get the nurturing emails. Sometimes you get both. And then, of course, this is a separate one because these are the ones that are interested in my networking group and they want to come. But it adds up the revenue that they've spent on the website. So it tracks it tracks what they've purchased, because my WooCommerce shop on my website is connected to my WooCommerce website is connected to Active Campaign. So it actually tracks products that they've bought. But I can even see over here, this particular product is abandoned. So this was an abandoned cart. So she'd added it to cart and not gone ahead with it, which means potentially I could retarget everyone who has abandoned the cart. All right. So with the CRM over here, when they book events as well, the event calendar dates will be integrated and come into here. But tasks, notes, emails, and conversations are all in here. I can add a task, meaning email me if I've got to follow up in 3 months. I can add a contact notes. Either I can add notes from our session, or I can add notes about our meeting. And I can send an email of which I will be able to see if she opened it or did not open it, which is really important. So remember, Active Campaign is a beast, and I pay about $150 a month for this. So I'm not recommending that you have something like this, but I wanted to show you this, that you can duplicate this in a free thing like Trello. And Tara has kindly said that we can have a look at her board as well. What I want to show you on the right-hand side over here is that you can see all the different campaigns that have been sent, and you can see which campaigns they've opened. And you can also see which links they've clicked on. Let's just see if she's clicked on any links. Now, this doesn't miraculously happen. You have to set this up. You have to set up the rules and the behaviors. So you've got to map your customer. You've got to work out what data you want to collect from it. And then you've got to set it up inside your business so that it does happen. All right. And this is why right now, I've been struggling for the last year to find an Active Campaign manager that has advanced skills that know how to do this, because not everyone knows how to do this. But the fact that I have a strategy means that I can give it to someone, and then if they've got a basic understanding, they should be able to implement it as well. So Tara has very kindly allowed me to show you hers as well. So Tara was struggling, she's got kids, she's got products, she's growing her business, and, she doesn't need a big fancy CRM. So what we did was we created this. We've got the B2C customer inquiries, which she can add in here in that board. We've got the B2B prospects, which she can add in here. And then the B2B2C prospects, which she can add in there. And then the collaborations, and then networking and operations as well. Okay, so that she can have all her data in here, keep track of it, and then obviously set a time in her diary each week to go in and make sure that you are following up on those leads. Because too many people are looking for another cold person, when right now you've actually got people that are hot in your email list. Sorry, I know that we've gone over again. So we're close to the end. So if you can just stay with me for 2 seconds, I will finish up soon. So a CRM will record the data based on the criteria that you wanted to do. So you have to have that strategy, and you've got to know how you want to use it. So then you can set that up. Okay. And it's important that you choose the right platform for you, meaning that because I use Active Campaign, you don't have to use Active Campaign. You can use another one. You've just got to look at what you wanted to do and then use that. I just want to give you some examples. I'm just going to give you, to end off, just to give you some examples of strategic ways that you can use a CRM for your marketing. Okay. A re-engagement strategy. So say Mary's been inside there, and there's a whole lot of people that inquired about dogs 6 months ago. None of them went ahead. You can now go into your CRM and go, all the people that did not buy anything 6 months ago, can we send them a re-engagement email? Okay, one of my clients just made 25% more in sales because we put in a re-engagement strategy into their business. 25% more sales, because they went back to people who bought 6 months ago and said, hey, you didn't buy then, but maybe the time's right now. Okay, and that's automated. But we've got to come up with that strategy. Number 2, abandoned carts. As I said, there are people that are adding things to their cart and they're abandoning it. So you can send automations to say, hey, you put this in your cart, but you didn't go ahead with it. And I know Carrie Ann's been doing that, and that's been working. To say, you put this in your cart, but you didn't go ahead. Here's the link to go purchase that. Okay, different for products. If somebody abandoned a cart, I had this happen with people signing up for my webinar. They abandoned carts. I just picked up the phone and called them. hey, I noticed that you were interested in my webinar and I noticed you didn't go ahead. Can I answer any questions? They had a couple questions. I answered the questions, they signed up. I could have just let it go, but I didn't. They were hot because they clicked it. They clicked add to cart. Why didn't they go ahead? Find out. First-time buyers. So first-time buyers are buying things and then they don't buy again. How can we re-engage them? Similar to a re-engagement strategy, or offer them a first-time buyers offer. Opening emails. Every Friday, my VAs go into the emails and they tell me who is clicking on what link, and I add them to my leads list. If they are clicking at links in my and looking at programs and they're not going ahead, I'm going to follow them up. They are hot, so I'm going to follow them up. And yes, as Andrew said, it's not always necessarily, or Asley said, it's not necessarily always with an email. It will be with a phone call because they are hot. Multiple clicks. If someone's clicking on this, and we found that actually with Mind Body Health Hub, some people were clicking 9 times on a link and not purchasing. And what we realized, there was actually a problem with the link. So by not looking at that link, we didn't realize there was a problem with the link. We fixed the link and now we've optimized that process. And now they're purchasing, they're actually going in and purchasing and not doing it. So multiple clicks. Not opening emails. If the same people aren't opening emails again and again and again, I will wait 6 months. If they haven't opened an email in 6 months, they get an email to say, this is your last chance to open this email. And if they don't open it, I will unsubscribe them. Why? Because I don't want a dead email list. I only want an email list of people who are actually interested in what I'm doing. And my ideal client opens their emails. They don't not open their emails. Events attending. So if people are attending events, you want to be able to follow up on that. And downloading your lead magnets. If people are downloading your lead magnets and they're going through a automation lead funnel and they potentially haven't booked a call, I want to maybe call them and say, hey, how did you enjoy that resource? Okay, because I'm selling a big, a high ticket offer. So for me, I'm going to phone them and say, hey, you clicked on that resource. How was it? Because it's worth that money to me if they've been clicking on my links and clicking on the leads on the resource. All right. So any questions that you may have? If anyone has any questions, I'll say goodbye to everyone else that is online. They can ask the questions in the YouTube comments if they would like to. However, I will save the questions just for you.